G'day, let's tear down this N64. 6 4.5mm security screw bits hold the case together. The teardown starts by taking these out. Released in Japan in June of 1996, North America in September of the same year, and Europe and Australia in March of 1997. The N64 was the last of the 5th generation of consoles. Some criticised Nintendo for being late to the party and the last manufacturer sticking to cartridge-based media rather than the newer optical drives. However, worldwide sales finished just under 33 million units, selling more than its own successor, the GameCube, or later, the Wii U. In a generation where sales volumes of today were unheard of, it's no surprise that those who were lucky enough to have one also enjoyed their status as a Nintendo kid. With the top part of the case removed, we can see 24 screws hold the board, heatsink, ports and plugs to the case. As you would expect, now inside the console, only normal Phillips head screws are inside, although some different sizes are used for a little complexity. While the worldwide sales numbers mentioned before resonate as a success for the N64, the lost market share to a once development partner and new player Sony, and the Japanese recession mean that things could have been even bigger for this console. While the reception was positive for the console, it was by no means easy to develop for. While enjoying a loyal fanbase, game developers had a more difficult platform to work with, along with more restrictions on game size. Regardless of those difficulties, some amazing games found their way into our hearts. With the heatsink removed, we can see the board. Taking a quick tour, we have the CPU, the RCP, and under this heatsink, the RAM. CPU, 64-bit NEC VR4300 with 24KB of level 1 cache, running at 93.75 MHz. The N64's VR4300 is generally considered to be the most powerful console CPU of the 5th generation of video games. This generation includes the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Atari Jaguar, and 3DO. Except for its narrower 32-bit system bus, the VR4300 retains the computational abilities of a 64-bit processor. The N64's graphic and audio duties are performed by the 64-bit SGI coprocessor named the Reality Coprocessor, or RCP. The RCP is a 62.5 MHz chip split internally in two major components, Reality Display Processor, RDP, and Reality Signal Processor, RSP. Each area communicates with the other by way of a 128-bit internal data bus that provides 1 gigabit per second of bandwidth. The final major component of the system is the RAM. Hidden under the heatsink I showed you, the N64 implemented a Unified Memory Architecture, UMA. Instead of having separate memory banks for the CPU, audio, and video as seen in its competitors, the RAM itself consists of 4.5 megabits of RAM bus RDRAM fabricated by NEC, of which only 4 megabytes are visible to the CPU. The rest is used exclusively for the RCP for tasks such as anti-aliasing and Z buffering. System RAM is expanded to a total of 9 megabytes with the expansion pack. The RAM has 9-bit data bus at 250 MHz as RDRAM transfers both at the rising and falling edge of the signal, a technique known as DDR. It provides a system with 562.5 megabytes per second peak bandwidth shared between CPU and RCP. I hope you have enjoyed the video tearing down the N64 NUS-001. Please like, comment on what you'd like to see, and subscribe to the channel.